Hello, and welcome to Totally Schway, a podcast about the DCAU and whatever the hell I want it to be about. My co-host's name is Luke.
And that lady you were just listening to, her name was Mary Susan.
Since when have you called me Mary Susan?
Just now. The only time I'm going to do
it. So, I'm going to ask you first.
Yeah.
Do you have any news?
I do have a piece of news. I'm going to go get it.
Can I say what it is?
Well, there's two things.
Can I say one of them?
Which one do you want to say?
One of them's a lock-up figure.
Oh, you ruined it.
Did I?
Yeah, it is a lock-up figure. So, for San Diego Comic-Con, and I think Todd McFarlane partnered with Walmart, of all people, to release like these, what are they called? They're called blacklight editions of some of his figures, his DC figures.
So not Target?
No, this time it was Walmart.
Oh.
But he did 3,500 of this lock-up figure, and it's in like black light paint, and it comes with a little black light. You can turn it on and he glows like neon colours, so it's like your own pretty little neon fascist.
I'm going to say something.
Go on then.
I do not care that you collect things. Actually, I do care because I quite like it. I think it's a cool thing to do. I'm going to tell them this. It has the plastic seal around it, like the manufacturer's plastic seal around it. So Luke will never be opening this, so he'll never actually get to see the figure under a black light.
I've seen pictures of it. That's enough. It lives in my imagination.
This is the only one that I'm questioning why you got it, other than it is just to get it, right?
It's to have it, yeah.
To have it,
Now I've got it.
But you're never gonna you're never gonna open it.
If I could find a second one, maybe I'd open it, and then because it does actually apparently come with a black light that you can plug in and
but this one,
it's
a no. You're never gonna open it.
Probably not. No.
Okay, cool. And then this
second one, you may remember about a year ago.
This one was Target?
This one is Target exclusive. So about a year ago, Todd McFarlane was releasing all of these replica Batman cowls, like these little plastic statues that had Batman cowls on them. And there was a Batman the Animated Series one, which was like the only one that was a Target exclusive. Well, I finally found one. But I've got it, so Doc Widener, you can stop looking. I found it.
Doc Widener is amazing, by the way. Can I just say that?
Of course you can.
No, I'm not just going to say that. He's really great. So he's been showing me some awesome photographs.
And not so awesome
yes,
photographs.
That's the thing I'm going to talk about now. It's not so awesome photographs because there have been some really horrendous weather patterns and like the Midwest and like on the East Coast recently, and it's quite devastating. And it's so in the town that Luke and I live in, there's like, I think it was 26 and a half inches is our yearly for rain. That is typically 26 and a half inches. Well, where Doc told us how much it was there, it was like six and a half or something in a day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to repeat that. In a day.
Yeah, almost a quarter.
So they got a quarter of what
3 months of rain.
Yeah.
In one day.
Yeah. In one freaking day. Like how? It really is. If people don't believe in global warming, I don't know what to tell them, because it just seems like it seems like the weather all around the world is just becoming worse. Like, it's getting hotter. The storms are getting stronger. The floods are getting higher and all of that. So I want all of y'all, every single one of you guys, to think of Doc and send him really, really awesome thoughts. And you know what? I'm going to say it. Nice emojis. Do we call them emojis still?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, so another reason I wanted to mention Doc is because Doc has been sending me photographs of Target. And you know what? It's helped the itch.
Mm.
I am still looking for the crypto. It will come out here eventually. It really will.
Allegedly.
Yeah, if not, I'll get somebody to get it over there for me somehow. But I love, as you know, Luke, I love watching other people shop. I don't know why. like especially grocery stores, especially from all around the world. But I don't understand why. I just love watching people in Target. Now, I have issues with Target at the moment, obviously, and I think a lot of people do. But I can't lie to you. I love watching people shop at Target. I really do. It really makes me feel happy, I guess, to see other people shopping. But I don't shop like that, do I? I'm not the like I'm usually like an online person, and if I have something, I don't need another thing of it unless it's a storage box, but a very specific storage box. So I don't feel the way that they do, but I like that it gives them happiness to shop for hygiene products, I guess. Who doesn't need 18 mouthwashes in different flavors of mint? Okay, so shall we get to today's topic? Was Batman, the animated series, the coolest PSA ever? I'm going to tell you what a PSA is. A TV PSA, or public service announcement, is a message broadcast on television designed to raise public awareness or change behavior on a topic of public interest without charge. And it talks about sometimes it's government agencies, sometimes it's like Got Milk. I guess sometimes you could say that that was a PSA in some regard, and just loads of different things. Like there were many cartoons that we know about that were PSAs. Like just didn't even have you didn't even have to have the disclaimer. It was you knew what it was.
Yeah.
Captain Planet.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe always had the thing at the end.
Yeah.
And so did He-Man. He-Man had the message at the end where it was like, remember, children, Skeletor was very greedy today. Try not to eat more than blah, 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 etc.
Yeah. So, although it wasn't really a PSA,
no,
because it wasn't like publicized as that, it was a PSA.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's very, very, very funny about that is that when Batman the Animated Series went into production, there were two warring camps in the production team. There's Bruce Timm and Eric Radomski, who wanted to do a comic book faithful Batman series that was more in line with the Tim Burton movies. Not like extreme or anything, but just a bit rougher than your usual cartoon. Then you had the executives bringing on Sean Catherine Derrick, who she had a background working on the Smurfs, and then I believe she went on to work on Captain Planet, which you mentioned. And her secret task that she was given, that nobody told Bruce Timm and Eric Radomski, was that she was encouraged to try to bring them down to earth and produce a more traditional cartoon. And as part of that, she wanted to include social messages in her scripts.
I'm going to get to that as well.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. There are a couple of episodes where it's really obvious, and she's the writer of those episodes. Because of all of their bickering and infighting, and basically how it stopped production, essentially, they brought on Alan Burnett as the overall producer of the whole thing, and he made the call to follow Bruce Timm and Eric Radomski's suggestions, and then Sean Catherine Derrick and her team left eventually. But one of the things that Alan Burnett dictated was that there will be no social messages, and yet it was absolutely full of them. Now, I think what he meant is none of the hey kids, you play on train tracks long enough and you'll fry. That was actually one of the lines, wasn't it? Play chicken long enough and you'll fry.
Or have Robin at the end of the episode look into the camera with a cigarette saying, kids, don't do it. Don't smoke.
Yeah.
I could just imagine. But what's great about BTAS, about all of the DCAU, you can actually say, I can say this wholeheartedly. I believe that all of the DCAU were aware of what they were doing in that regard. And I wholeheartedly believe that they're PSAs. But the best type of PSA is the PSA that tells you to do something, but doesn't tell you that it's telling you to do something. Yeah. So
it's not explicit.
Yeah. So first off, let's talk about some of the things that BTAS did. So I have got some notes here. again, because I'm trying to stay on track and everything like that. The first thing that I have written, moral complexity in a kid-friendly format.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I think BTAS taught kids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Right and wrong aren't always black and white.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's actually said in one of the shows. Good people can do bad things for complicated reasons, and villains aren't always evil. They're often broken, hurt, or failed by society.
Yeah.
You want to do the example I wrote down, or
Well, the example you've
yeah.
written down is Mr. Freeze in Heart of Ice, who was portrayed as a tragic figure rather than a one-dimensional villain.
Mm-hmm.
But it's true of nearly all of them.
Exactly.
You know, the Riddler was ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
While the contract he had signed was legal, it was immoral.
Yeah.
And he went to get his revenge. The Mad Hatter really was just a lonely guy who wanted companionship, and he couldn't figure out how to navigate like social situations. So he tried to take control. And then obviously Harley Quinn, yes.
And Harley Quinn, especially when she's trying to do the right thing. You know, she goes into a shop. She's just trying to buy a dress. But obviously she thinks the world is against her. And to be honest with you, it probably is. But it gives you that... I don't know how to explain it. I feel that the character that they did that with was perfect, because it was somebody who really wanted to just be good.
Yeah.
But it just felt, no matter what she did, it wasn't good enough.
Well, the funny thing is that the world wasn't against her. People were trying to help her, but she couldn't see it because she was too riddled with anxiety.
Exactly.
And I think that's true of a lot of people. Yeah. Like I can recall having a conversation with someone, and they were saying, "Oh, I've things have been going really badly for me lately. The universe doesn't care. The universe hates me. You know, I don't know why I bother doing anything." And I said to them, "Listen.
Are you talking about me?"
No, I'm not. I said, "Listen, the universe doesn't hate you.
Mm-hmm.
At worst, the universe is indifferent towards you. You know." There's not some like grand thing in the sky looking down on you and deciding how things are going to go just to screw with you. It's just sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. It's up to you to find meaning in your own life.
And this show has a really great way of telling you that without telling you that. Like, it shows you, like in the episode that I'm talking about, it shows.
Which episode are you talking about?
Harley's Holiday.
Oh, Harley's Holiday. Yeah, okay.
It shows you that she thinks the world is against her. And they might be. Some people might be. But in this particular instance, all the lady wanted to do at first was to take the security tag off. But because Harley's guard is up,
she doesn't hear what the security guard's saying. She just sees a security guard trying to take a dress off of her. Yeah. She doesn't hear Bruce Wayne saying, "Listen, this is all a misunderstanding. If you just calm down, it'll be okay. We'll smooth it out." She doesn't hear that. She just is faced with the prospect of having her life taken away from her again, and she goes into a meltdown, basically.
Yeah. So I've packed these into, I think, 6 different little things.
Okay.
So we know about mental health awareness. Our generation grew up knowing what it was. Knowing that when you just say, "Oh, I'm having like a bad mental health day," that you're not talking about being like put away or things like that. Because in older generations, like if you're like from the 20s or something, saying, "Oh, the mental health of that person," you're usually seeing it in a negative light. But I think BTAS is one of the very first shows that I watched as a kid. Oh, and I think just very first shows I ever watched that had talking about mental illness, but it wasn't always negative. It was coming from a caring thing. Like, it wasn't saying, oh, this person's bad because they're bad in the head or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with this, um, a lot of the let's be real, a lot of it has to do with PTSD and all of these, but I'll read what I wrote. Many episodes tackled PTSD,
Mhm.
trauma, split personalities, abandonment and neglect. That's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just struggle.
Mm-hmm.
You could put all of those down, but the one thing that all of them have in common is just struggle.
Yeah.
And it's not just one, there isn't just one type of struggle. And in every single episode of this series, you you just see how different each person in this world is by looking at all of the different characters. And I find that to be awesome because it helped me as a kid and as an adult know that, oh, I have problems. I've always been aware of my problems. Like, I've had bad mental health, and I've talked about it before. I go through bouts of being, up and down and severely down and all of that. But this was one of the things that this show taught me, is that I'm not the only one that feels that way. And there are different levels of being depressed. There are different levels of trauma. But none of that is worse than, like, my trauma isn't going to be worse than your trauma, if that makes sense, because our traumas are different. Thus, they can't have a level.
It's not a competition.
Yeah. And I just was kind of amazed watching this. And the first time I watched it, not this time around, because Luke and I are rewatching it. It made me feel, even though I was watching a cartoon or an animated show, that I wasn't so alone. That this wasn't just a Mary Sue thing. This was just yes, my family called me Mary Sue when I was a child. This was a thing that a lot of people went through, and maybe everybody. And there are different ways that that Batman slash Bruce Wayne deal with people, and it's never the same. And that is the beauty. That is one of the beauties of this show, is that they treat mental health awareness like a diamond, like a world-class diamond, like they take care of it, they look after it, and they don't shit on it. Sorry to be so frank, but they don't. And they taught you that just because somebody is having a bad day, is one of my favorite lines. I had a bad day once. um, just because you have one bad day, a bad week, a bad month, doesn't mean it has to all be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to talk about it a little bit later, but rehabilitation is a thing. And I think that them going to Arkham when they had mental health issues, rather than going to, straight to prison, I think that was brilliant, because it showed that, again, not everybody can be treated the same way. Sometimes this person needs more care than this person, and sending them to Arkham when they obviously have mental health issues is I wish they did more of that in the real world. I wish they had the resources to be able to do that, because I think the world would be such a different place. And I think we would be more empathetic to people in the prison system.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to those ones?
No, I don't think so. I think you covered it all. I mean, I guess the big message to take away, we could sum it up as, we all struggle and we should all help each other with our struggles.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so the third thing
Hmm.
Again, this is all kind of PSA stuff. Like it all, if you watch like a good PSA or like an after school special, it all has all of this kind of adds up. So, three, accountability and redemption. So, those two should always go hand in hand because you were always taught not to do something bad.
Hmm.
But what's bad? And that's where Batman comes in. Don't do this. No, just kidding. BTAS was very good at showing what bad could be, but also showing that you can be redeemed. You can rehabilitate. And that is a big part of some of the characters in this story or in these stories. And even Bruce, when we watched, what episode was that last that we watched? Where he was on the train and um Robin had to like get him into,
Never fear.
yes, Never Fear.
From the new Batman adventures. Sorry to be a pedant.
Yeah. So in Never Fear, you see that Bruce slash Batman is taken over. Like he had the Never Fear toxin, I guess, and he was just a big ass. Like it just made him an ass. He wasn't afraid of anything, obviously. So he was like driving the plane, or excuse me, piloting the plane, odd, like really close to the building, and he had no fear, and he wasn't even afraid of the things that he could get Robin into. Like he could have killed Robin multiple times in this, and there's a bit at the end where he's back, like to himself, because he's done the inhaler. Robin put the inhaler in his mouth or whatever and puffed. And there's that little bit at the end. It's not huge, but it's huge, where he's acknowledges that Robin was right. And, I don't think he actually said sorry, did he? Because I don't think he needed to.
I don't think he needed to say sorry, but he was like, you did a good job.
Yeah, that's kind of like his way of saying that, like, yeah. And I think that's accountability and redemption together, because he knew that he was being an ass. And yes, it was because of the toxin, but he knew that he had to take accountability for that. And he did. And obviously, his redemption is just not doing it again.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully. um, do you have any other things about that one? Because we kind of like talked about accountability and redemption and, like the mental health stuff as well.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of characters have redeeming episodes. Yes, sometimes they get taken away when they do something else bad, but a lot of the time they do know that they're doing something wrong and they're taking accountability for it, but sometimes it takes longer for them to have their redemption arc and the rehabilitation arc. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, most of them don't reform, but
yeah,
Arnold Wesker, the ventriloquist, does for the most part. And he's a really great example of a villain that is just completely just messed up. His psyche is just in complete tatters.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like a bad person. It's that all of his negative impulses are kind of manifested through that puppet. And we all have these negative feelings, these negative thoughts and negative impulses. Of course we do. But most of us know how to deal with them. And his way of dealing with his negative feelings was to create an alternate personality that was like a little Al Capone. But, he had his redemption at the end, and he rejected Scarface. And for the most part, he was able to reform. So I think that was a very positive message from...
Yeah.
What was that episode called? Double Talk. There we go.
Wouldn't know.
No, you don't like watching.
I haven't seen them, I'm sure, but I just don't. We don't need to get onto my pupophobia. So this also goes into my number 4, consequences of crime and corruption. Gotham City was full of corrupt officials, broken systems and failed institutions.
Well, they weren't allowed to show the corrupt officials, but it was hinted at.
Yeah.
It was hinted at. And, I'm literally just doing a video right now, actually, about the broken system in Gotham. I mean, you'll probably know what episode. Just from describing that.
I do
mentioning
not.
that. Well, all right. The listener will probably have a good idea.
Okay.
Channel members will know what it is because I already told them in the what video was it? I think it's the. No, I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maxima, I think. Maxima video. Have I told people we're doing Maxima? I think we have. I don't know. I lose track of
I
everything.
don't listen sometimes.
No, I know. I know. But that was a lot of words to basically just say yes.
Yeah. BTAS taught us that crime had real, often tragic consequences, not just explosions and slapstick violence.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there was slapstick violence in there, but in that, it also gave you a real problem. And it wasn't just saying, oh, bad people are bad.
Mm-hmm.
It had a story of how that person became it. A lot of the time you get the backstory, and it's like we said in the beginning, it is not always black and white. That gray, like all of Batman gray, it should have been the gray bat that wears a black suit. I don't know. I that was bad.
Just thinking out loud.
Yeah. This is why Warner Brothers hasn't got back in touch with me. Well, actually, they never got in touch with me. That was just a one-sided thing. Jokes. I forgot what I was talking about. This is why I started doing notes.
Yes.
So, consequences aren't always, in cartoons especially, they're always like bad guy bad. But why is bad guy bad? How did that person become how did it get to that point?
Yeah. Why did this happen?
Yeah. I think a perfect example of this is Two-Face.
Yeah.
Like a really well thought out story that was treated with kindness throughout. And I say that, I'm talking about the illness was treated with kindness, not necessarily Two-Face. Yeah. And I think anybody who watches that can say that, because I don't think there's anything in Batman that I would say, oh, they did that really, really badly in terms of mental health. Some of the episodes, well, actually one of the episodes, and it's not, I've got a Batman in my basement. Do you have anything to add?
No, I don't
we
think
just had some radio silence there.
Yeah, I mean,
because you were yawning earlier.
No. Sorry, I've had a long day.
Same. Okay, so another thing I added onto here, kids saw that crime hurt people, not just Batman or the police, but families, relationships, and communities.
Oh, yes. So there's a really great example of this in what is Appointment in Crime Alley? There we go. That was the episode I was struggling to remember.
I love that one.
Yeah, that one is a very good one. Now, the thing is...
I'll talk more about that
Yeah,
one.
so what Daggett was doing was technically legal because he owned the buildings.
Immoral, but legal.
It was absolutely immoral. So the thing is, the residents of those buildings had the right to stay there, but if they left, then Daggett could do what he wanted. So Daggett had his men persuade them that it was a good idea to leave, making them homeless.
Mm-hmm.
And his whole plan was to demolish the buildings and build gaudy condos, which is the kind of thing that, our society likes businessmen to do. But actually, it added nothing. It destroyed communities. And, it was presented as progress when actually it was abuse.
Yeah. So that goes into 5 and 6, right? So 5, I put subtle social commentary. So without preaching, BTAS tackled poverty and class struggle, episodes about homelessness, child abuse and exploitation, which as 90s kids or 80s and 90s kids, we knew about these things, but having Batman have episodes about it it made it real for us. Something so like scripted brought it to reality for us.
It's funny, I see in your notes you've written Growing Pains and the Forgotten, which is true. But I think the one episode that combines child abuse and exploitation
is the
Underdwellers.
Yes.
With the Sewer King. Yeah, that one in particular. And it's funny, actually, these episodes of Batman the Animated Series that generally aren't as well regarded, like the Underdwellers and the Forgotten, are actually some of like the most horrible ones. Like in terms of like really unpleasant, not like bad.
Especially watching them as adults with the things that we've seen. Especially if you are if you know anything about I mean it's coming out more and more recently, but Savile. And all of that, and it just to go back to like the Underdwellers was it kind of made me sick to my stomach. Although it's a great show. I mean, obviously great show. It was a great episode, but it kind of made me feel sick to my stomach because I'm like, yes, this is fake, but it's not. Obviously, kids aren't being brought into the sewer that we know of. But
maybe metaphorically they are.
Yeah, this is what's happening in the world. These things are actually happening, and it's scary that these people, these kids, there are kids just like them. They might not be in the sewers, but they're out there, and you know, society needs to step up. And again, I think that's part of Batman is Batman teaches us if we see something wrong, there are 3 things we could do. We could do what they say on the tube, see it, say it, sort it, which is what we should do by informing the police. Number 2, which is not the best one, we could beat people up.
Yeah, don't need a cape with a cow.
Yeah. Or the third one, and I talked about this yesterday when I was, I think it was yesterday I was talking about this. Often, people just pretend like the next person is going to do something. And I say that because it's true. And it's not that they pretend to do it. They don't want to be a part of the problem or the solution. They just want someone else to deal with it. And what happens if you start to do that is it becomes just a domino effect. The next person, the next person, and the next person are going to do the same thing. So here in the UK, on our tubes, our metro.
The tube?
Yeah.
We don't pluralize it. How dare you? Fake English person.
We have announcements ever so often. Like, I think it's like, is it every 5 minutes or something?
Probably more frequently than
Yeah. So you have this thing, see it, say it, sort it. And they give you like a number that you can text now. So you don't just have to call. I think you could do it over the website. You could do it so many different ways now. So it is incredibly important that we channel our inner Batman and do that, because there are a lot of police departments that have similar things. So don't ignore things. Don't beat people up. Don't beat people up either. I just want y'all to know that. Don't beat people up. But don't ignore something. If somebody's doing something wrong, please see it, say it, sort it. I think I'm saying that right. And that doesn't always mean to confront them, because sometimes that's worse. But yeah, I wanted to put that out there because I find it incredible, because Batman taught us that. I mean, he also taught us maybe punching every once in a while might be nice. I don't agree with like the violence part of it. And
solve all of life's problems by kicking them on the chin.
So I talked about number 5.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. the last part of my number 5 was gender roles and domestic violence. So, the big one, I think that most people can really think about when you say that, both of those things, are Harley Quinn and the Joker's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that a couple shouldn't be is in that couple. And I know a lot of people these days like romanticize it and everything, and I think that's bad, because they were not good for each other. And the way that it happened was manipulation, but also catching someone when they're already down. And continuously bringing them down, and this and that and whatever. I think I've got a video about that or something, but I wanted to pop that in here because there were quite a few PSAs that were about domestic violence. Now, in terms of gender roles, I don't remember a lot of those in the 90s.
Most Poison Ivy episodes
Yeah.
would have been.
No, sorry about the PSAs that we saw in the 90s, not Batman. But with this, Batman was an equal opportunity person.
Yeah.
He had ladies working with him. I say with him. He was respectful. And I don't like the fact that he's hit the lady.
Well, he says to Red Claw, he goes, Red Claw, a woman? She's like, does that bother you, Batman?
That's where he says,
and he's like, not at all. I'm an equal opportunity crime fighter.
Yeah,
but what he means by that is he's got no problem beating up women, which sounds problematic when you put it that way.
So I'm going to do number 6 now, too. So Batman as a moral compass. Bruce Wayne / Batman respected the law, but followed his own strict and ethical code. Showed that you can be strong and still care, and that revenge is not justice.
Mm-hmm.
I think is a huge, educational thing on here. Often showed mercy, restraint, and empathy. It's a big thing. Even for his enemies.
Yeah. Offered to help Mr. Freeze, Mad Hatter, Ventriloquist and Scarface, Two-Face, Clayface, anyone with a face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am overly empathetic at times, which is one of the problems I have with my own mental health, is that I care too much, and I play Batman. I don't really. But
thanks, Paul Dini.
Yeah, thanks, Paul Dini. Actually, you're really cool, so actually, really thank you. No, I get it. And I don't say that about most cartoons. Like, I get why Batman does feel empathetic for these people, because he understands that you can't judge someone when they're in the rough of it.
Well, you said it a few minutes ago. He had a bad day too once.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly it.
He says that twice, because I think it was in Justice League or something where he was talking to somebody and he was like, I had a bad day once. And I think he said it in BTAS.
Yeah, he said it in Harley's Holiday when he brought the dress to her when she was incarcerated.
Oh, see, I love that line so much.
I don't recall him saying it in Justice League.
I'm going to have to go back.
Well, we're going to end up having to do a rewatch of that soon, because
obviously
we did Superman, we've done Batman. No, we did Superman, we did Justice League Unlimited. Now we're back at Batman. Need to get onto Batman Beyond next.
Yeah.
Maybe you could start watching Static Shock.
Probably not.
It's a shame.
So, in summary, BTAS was a PSA for kids, not by preaching, but by telling compelling, emotionally resonant stories that reflected real-world struggles, encouraged empathy, resilience, and moral reflection, and treated its young audience with respect and intelligence. Yeah. And that last thing I did last for a reason. I don't think a lot of kids shows were geared toward me, because I was raised by people that didn't treat me like a little kid. They They knew I was a child, but they just didn't treat me like a child. They just thought it was like okay to have kids as like a little adults. And this show was one of the things that I found solace in because it didn't insult my intelligence. It did not make me feel like I was dumb because the characters, let's be honest, you've probably mentioned this many times in your videos, the characters oftentimes did not were not that it's not that they were appropriate for kids shows. It's just the language and talking about mental health and stuff like that wasn't the thing back then.
Yeah.
I think BTAS helped make that a thing.
Yeah, it did.
And not talking at you, but making you feel like you're part of the conversation and not making you feel stupid by telling you don't do drugs, kids. Don't do it. It's bad. But BTAS says, okay, help others. And this is why. So don't rob banks because of this. And why you shouldn't steal something because of this. And all of these stories, although some of them you do repeat instances of this person's robbing a bank, this person's robbing a bank, but each time it is a completely different story. And the way that it was taught, or not taught, the way that the people who wrote the scripts did this was just, I cannot give enough kudos to them for making me feel like not a kid, but a person. Like, not telling me not to do something because I'm a child, but telling me or explaining to me why you shouldn't do something like this. Not because you're a kid, but just because you are a human being. And if you do happen to do these things, whether it's because of mental health or you're just wanting to be naughty, redemption is always a thing, but you have to want it. And you have to work for it. And I loved that.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why I think Batman the Animated Series was the coolest freaking PSA of the 1990s. Or ever. Shall we get to the comments? We actually did 43 minutes of actually doing the episode. Can you believe it?
Yeah, now we're going to do 2 hours of comments. My poor throat. All right, let's just get straight into them then. So the first one is from the Phantasm, who says, nice to have you guys back. Where have we been? I don't know. I really enjoyed watching the Zatanna video, by the way, thank you very much, more so than an actual introductory episode in BTAS. Ordinarily, I might have felt a little bad about saying that, but then again, Dan Rieber himself expressed on the Pod Tower podcast, as that jump on the Batwagon probably, that he's really not too fond of that episode either. So I don't feel that bad. Zatanna is a character that I just don't think works as well with BTAS's original parameters and straying from the fantastical nature of DC. This little piggy always just felt to me truer to what I saw the character as, but there is a little bias in me saying that, seeing as she's also voiced by Jennifer Hale in Justice League Unlimited, and she's my favourite voice actress of all time. So in regards to the subject you all suggested to talk about today, I must admit I'm a bit stumped. I just strangely recall already discussing something similar, so as a change, if appropriate, I'd like to ask you something a bit personal. Unbelievable.
I don't mind.
Unbelievable.
I'm an open book until I close it.
How did Luke and Mary meet? I apologise if it's something you've talked about before and I missed. Yeah, we did talk about it before.
I'll take it from here. We both like films. I like classic movies more than I guess most people my age, and Luke was in film school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in 2005, he created on MySpace a Marlon Brando like fan page, and I started talking to him on that because I love Marlon Brando. I have Marlon Brando's name tattooed on my left, I guess, wrist. I always say wrist, but it's my forearm. And we started talking, and we became friends, and then like best friends, and then he's helped me get through a lot of things that you know a person like a young adult would be going through, and some other personal things. And when no one else, I couldn't really talk to anyone else about it, so I spoke to him. And then yeah, I think that was in 2005. And then in 2008 he came to visit me. And then I I had a loss in my family, quite a big loss in my family. And um him and his family really, they saved my life. And I don't say that lightly. They saved my life. And I think Luke and I were like, had been in love for like a while. So I ended up moving probably about a year later, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Moving over here to the UK because I lived in Oklahoma. And yeah, obviously there's so much more to the story than that, but that's pretty much the gist of it.
Yeah.
That
In the spirit of time.
I say what?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how Luke and I met, through MySpace. I could have just said through MySpace, but I think that particular part of the story is quite important.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we both put up with each other's shit.
Well, just about.
Yeah.
Next comment then. Thank you for your comment, by the way, Aris the Phantasm.
Thank you.
Next comment is from RJ Productions, who says, if I had a nickel for every famously heroic black-haired child with round glasses who has a ginger head, goofball yet loyal sidekick, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right? Not to mention the pale, bald bastard as the main villain with a had-binner for a main character, maybe a has-binner for a main character, and the elderly guardians who raised them. It feels like the Kents and the Dursleys are quite are polar opposites. Also, 1519, Mary's a Crowley fan. Are you, Mary?
1519.
Yeah, 15. There was a timestamp in the episode. You said something that made Harry think you were a Crowley fan. I assume he's not talking about Aleister Crowley, the historical figure who was into black magic. Or,
I mean,
or are you?
honestly, I was like, I don't remember, but maybe I am.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Anyway.
I'm so sorry, but I don't like the sound of my own voice, which is why Luke edits my videos. And I don't remember what I said about 10 minutes ago.
And in the spirit of time, we're 50 minutes in, and I've only got through 2 comments, so I'm going to move on to the next one. Thank you, Harry. So the next one is from Play Content Connor, who says, it's Boxy Bennett from Harley's Holiday and Harlequinade. Thank you for the reminder. I remembered it after the episode. Poor lad, if he had a name like Danko Twang, the world might remember. Danko Twang, for your reference, Mary, is one of the pseudonyms of Killer Moth. It's my favourite name. If I would change my name, I would change my name to Danko Twang.
I would probably change my name to like something hippie like Wind or Breeze. So I could call myself Bree, like cheese.
If Mondo do a Two-Face figure, I hope he's got the half and half milk and cream that he puts into his tea and almost got him. Spoilers, they have announced it.
Teresia's about to ask if that was true because I thought I dreamt it.
No, they did announce it, and the only accessory I've seen is an alternate torso where he's got a straight jacket on and a screaming head. I'm sure there will be others.
I was about to say, because that seems a bit...
There will be others. Or at least the truck he mentioned to Poison Ivy in that episode, maybe they'll do too. Yeah, well, they probably will do a special edition with extra accessories. Half and half that he can squeeze in his hand.
I hope so, because that would be neat.
They could have done a lot of stories about Jimmy's watch if the show continued. One where he loses it, one where it malfunctions in some way after some accident or it's hacked and keeps calling Superman, one where he's just annoyed the watch doesn't seem to tell the time. That'd have to be a subplot. Can't see that filling 20 minutes unless it's a 20-minute Jimmy Olsen stand-up routine about his watch, which would be bad. I actually don't think he's completely useless even in STAS. He does massively help in the Parasite episode, then just makes things worse for himself by trying to scrap someone who absorbs people's essence. I don't see how he thought he'd be immune to that. Well, it's because he's a hollow person. Jimmy is not a real human being. He's hollow and fake, and he thought he would be immune. No, that's a joke. Even so, I am far more useless than Jimmy. Off. Damn, that's saying a lot. But that's why I'm not in the DCAU. They cut all of my episodes. I'll defend his hair, but won't praise him for coming up with the name Supergirl. I feel like anyone could see a girl wearing a Superman logo and think that up. Yes, very, very astute. But yes, thank you for your comment, Connor. As you heard, it gave us some giggles.
BTW, Harry, I just realized what you were talking about, and yes, I like Nick Crowley. Like I really like, and his, I believe his friend Next Pro. I really like them. I watch a lot. I think I've watched all of their videos now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and sometimes I go back to them, and I'm just like, you know what? Although they're horrible in terms of like the topics they talk about, their content is great, by the way. I find that I relax more listening to them talk about these horrific things.
And you know what I just realised? I didn't tell anyone that we were referring to the last episode. Or I should say these comments are referring to the last episode where we talked about Jimmy Olsen.
Jimmy Olsen?
But I assume everybody that listens to this and gets this far already knows that. Anyway, next comment. Lower Lucas Jr. Kick off your... I'm never going to get through these comments. Kick off your shoes and relax your feet. You're on Totally Schway to talk about our little Jimmy. Just Jimmy, just Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Hello everyone, just wanted to say ahoy and wish you all a fabulous day and summer solstice evening full of delights. Still healing as there's been a few scares with my eyes and make sure to routinely check on their condition. Not only is this necessary for my art, but also just my own well-being. Just wish anyone who has to check on any health issues they or anyone else has to keep it up because your well-being matters. Well said. Now on to Jimmy, oh Jimmy, 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 Jimmy. Whether you're a kaiju turtle monster breathing fire, marrying a gorilla, becoming a wolf boy, or using a catalyst, or used as a catalyst, to introduce Darkseid, you're definitely one of comics' most iconic redheads who can't pull off a Riverdale Archie to save his life. Yes. Although I will admit, it's entertaining that the number of Silver Age stories stand out more than Lois Lane comics and sold better. Over the years, I thought Jimmy was a boring character. I did find Jimmy as the long-lost extra from a Leave It to Beaver. He's from a wholesome neighborhood of good values, but gets dragged into the most craziest situations you'd never see coming. So from this, I realized he's the straight kid who was reluctantly dragged into whatever the writers wished. Lol. Hopefully, I didn't mind he was changed over time in other iterations, even becoming hot enough to date Supergirl in her live-action series, or like... You remember Jimmy Olsen and Supergirl?
Well, you did watching after season 2.
Yeah, he was in that.
I don't remember it.
Oh, okay.
Look, you spoiled it for me.
No, it was Lowell.
No, it wasn't. He would never.
Oh, I'm reading what he said.
No, you're not. You're adding it.
Right. Or likeable enough for Kara to fight for him in the adventures of Superman. Now, before we depart, I love watching both of your videos, whether they be short or long. I want to give them my full attention. So if either of you make a long one, know I'll be there in the audience with my little Totally Schway flag, waving it saying hooray. That's why I'm always here every week for Totally Schway video. I myself want to make some great quality videos, but I have to finish healing first and learn how to edit videos with my laptop, so my lousy cell phone videos will have to do for now. Take everyone and be merry like Schway Mary and Luke. The Ron Perlman jingle was a reference to Reptar cereal from Rugrats.
Yep.
Please look for it, Mary. I have a vague recollection of the Reptar cereal.
Yeah. By the way, Lowell, whenever you are healed, which I hope is soon, don't forget to like tell us about your videos and like promote them in the comments, because we will definitely do that. Yeah. Obviously, we'll watch them as well. Yeah. But this is a community, and we all need to support each other.
Yes, thank you for your comment, Lowell Lucas Jr. Right, next we have a new commenter who is Dr. Bunny Medicinal, who says, Cyclops was also vastly less crap in X-Men Evolution, a generally underknown and underappreciated series, really. I watched X-Men Evolution when that came out. It was very good. Some of the BTAS people worked on it, like Frank Parr. But yeah, it was a good show. I think it was overshadowed by X-Men, the animated series, the predecessor, but yeah, it's still good.
I have no comment on the matter. I don't think I ever watched that.
No. Well,
what channel was it on? Do you know?
Not off the top of my head.
In Fox, wouldn't it?
Maybe. It was on Toonami over here, but...
That's a Cartoon Network, isn't it?
Anyway, also for Mary, somewhere near the 60-minute mark, it's a full-on whale of a cry. So are we talking porpoise, orca, humpback, or blue whale size of a cry here? Ha 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 ha. Good joke. Yes, thank you for your comment. All right, so next we have Super Legend of 364 or 364. Talking about Jimmy Olsen, says, I like his hair and I'm not sorry. Well, fair enough.
Put him in the same. I put him in the same little thing as Nightwing. I it's not my style, but I I can't change anything.
I've since been told by Dan Reba that the network executives insisted that Jimmy have a fresh, hip, new look so that he didn't seem like such a dork. And funnily enough, it makes him seem like even bigger of a dork all these years later, which is very, very funny.
I vaguely remember my brother having, because my brother has curly hair. I vaguely remember him having those like little lines on the side of his face, on the side of his head, with a little bit of a mullet. But I don't think it lasted long.
No. But anyway, let's move on to the next comment. So that's from Doc Widener, who says, thank goodness you're here. A sweltering 67. Luckily, if it is that low here. Some of the Superman movie figures look okay. I did send Mary a picture of some of the adorable Superman Little People figures I saw at Target when looking to see if they had restocked Crypto Squishmallows. They had not. Sorry you haven't been feeling good, Mary. The missus had some stomach thing the other day and slept much of Saturday away, so we were up late last night trying to catch up on the Tour de France. Had a couple of things keeping us from watching, so we are several days behind. So I was sleeping nicely when the doorbell woke me. We bought parts of my in-laws' farm. We are surrounded by it except for the road frontage. They rent out the fields to a guy who has cows. A calf got out, so I'm looking for that at the moment. I wasn't awake enough to ask which direction, so it just wandered off. So far, I haven't seen it or any of the cows. It might have climbed back in when it got out, but not ever seeing where that might have been. I think it slipped back in whenever it got out. So,
I would love that so much. I love farm animals.
to continue the comment, he says that was starter for the first session and deck ref for the second session of the Rec League Swim Champs on Wednesday. The pool was in Dresden, Ohio. Home of the Longaberger Basket Company. Longaberger ceased operations in 2018, was purchased by another company and still sells some baskets, but not at the scale they did in the 90s and 2000s. Collectibles with an MLM factor tossed in, and Dresden was a company town. The pool is very nice, though it is not centrally located in the league. Imagine the league consists of teams in Cambridge, Kings Lynn, Bedford, Luton, and also Norwich. All places over here. That was my comment there.
Yeah, I was going to say like was it Luton? That's over here.
Yeah, Cambridge, Kings Lynn, Bedford, Luton, and Norwich are all UK towns. But anyway, distance-wise, it's about the same. Slightly shorter time-wise to get there because there are state highways or interstates most of the way. But Sergey had to be there at 6 a.m. since he is coaching, so we had to leave around 4:30 a.m. to grab breakfast along the way. We had a storm pass through during the afternoon session, so that added a little over an hour. And we finished the day at 8:40 p.m. and got home around 10. I've been recovering ever since because when I wasn't pouting, it was sunny and in the 90s. Excuse me, when it wasn't pouting, it was sunny and in the 90s. Right, all of this before we got to Luke being a middling swimmer. Yeah, at best, I'm more of a rock that sinks. I do think pushing Jimmy back to after your video worked better for those of us who watch all of your content. Supergirl does have a lot to do with Jimmy Olsen in the comics and some other properties, just not Estas. I'm not sure if that was a missed opportunity or not. Ooh, YouTube analytics question. Do they tell you if people have watched at accelerated speeds? Do you know what? I don't think they do.
That's interesting because I've thought about that, but they don't.
No, I don't think they do. I've always wondered and have wondered if that hurts the creator. I don't think it does.
Because you're still watching it.
Yeah.
It's just, obviously just at a faster speed, but I still think it counts completely as
it does.
Yeah.
The missus bought YouTube Premium years ago, so the only ads I get are in video and reads. Are your watch times on these videos also only 6 to 7 minutes? Yeah. Basically, most videos hover around 6.5 minutes. Doesn't matter how long they are. I did a 20-minute video once, and I think the watch time is about 10 minutes. But that's kind of like my whole philosophy now of if people are only going to watch for 6, 7, 8 minutes, why go to all the effort of making 15, 20-minute plus videos when you could just do 2 10-minute videos and get a lot better performance.
Mrs. Doc is a cool lady, by the way. We're premium gals.
Gamera is the giant turtle. Oh my! I wasn't saying that Godzilla is a turtle. Oh my god!
He isn't?
No, he's not. I am not saying Godzilla's a turtle. I had to say that in like 3 or 4 comments. I said he was a giant fire-breathing monster, comma, like Godzilla.
See, I listened to the video.
Mm-hmm.
I'm of two minds. I think only because I've seen the script and I know that it's like, I know you're not saying Godzilla's a turtle, but in the video, it kind of sounds like you're saying that Godzilla's
Only
a
to
turtle.
certain people. You'll notice there were like several hundred comments, and 3 people are like, "Oh, he's not a turtle." As you can see, these kind of comments, while I appreciate them, they also kind of annoy me when people don't actually listen to what I say. Even when I write it out and say that's not what I said. Like, yes, it is. No, it's not.
He's actually joking. You want to hear something that really grinds Luke's gears, though? Speaking of like questions or whatever, what is a question I ask you all of the time? That I don't know. I'll see something on TV and I'm like, "Oh, have you seen that? Do you like that?" And like we've known each other for 20 years now. Like literally, we've known each other for 20 years, and sometimes it's fine, but then sometimes he's like, you ask me that every day.
I've got no recollection
Funny.
of that happening recently.
It has happened recently, but because I've been watching the same things recently, but
Mm-hmm.
it has happened where I'm like, I think I asked the same question like at least 7 days in a row once, and he just gets to the point that he doesn't answer.
I should clarify. I should clarify as well. I don't think Doc is saying that I was saying that Godzilla was a
Yeah.
turtle. It's just it reminded me of like there were 3 or 4 people that were like, "Oh, actually." Well, yeah, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. It's that bloody hazy days of winter situation again.
Do what?
Is that even what the song's called? I can't even remember. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know. Well, look, we're over an hour and I've got like 5 comments left. Right. MST3K has some catchy lyrics. Gamera, Gamera, Gamera's really neat. Gamera is filled with meat. We've been eating Gamera. Shell, teeth, eyes, flames, claws, breath, scales, fun. Sergey always liked Stuart Little as a fellow adoptee, and the missus loved the Little House on the Prairie books. Mom liked the show, which, old man that I am, we watched in first run. The missus said to try Cherry Lime Sprite Zero if you can find it. Reminds her of the cherry icy flavour she liked as a kid. Glad to hear that Lowell Lucas Jr. is doing better. I'm not sure if that was me or Spellchecker that switched Barryman to Barrymore. I'm trying to recall what made me say ageist. It was a jokey comment Mary made about someone being old but can't recall. Yeah, Brian Blessed. Yes. I hope you found a place to watch Con Man. We haven't yet. Resident Alien continues to be good and enjoying the new season of Foundation, even though it only vaguely resembles the source material. Was happy with the ending of Murderbot. Did watch the first half of Sandman Season 2 and it was fine. I particularly like the actress who played Delirium. I have not watched that yet and I need to. I have never heard Mary's pronunciation of bravado. I don't think many other people have. Bravado.
Same thing.
Need to dig around and see, but thinking I'm coming up on a 1 year of commenting on these. I started watching back episodes when you wisely chose to discuss Cape Crusader on Mary's channel. Yes, that's right. It was about a year ago. Also, Tour de France started watching when Shari started watching this summer after we adopted Sergey. There is so much more to the sport than just riding a bike a long way and as fast as you can. There are team tactics and other strategies and other races within the race. Sent Mary pictures of what I made Daniel today, bacon and scrambled eggs.
I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I think I will have Luke make me something very similar this week, but it'll probably have like beans on it, like beans on toast beans. because I like breakfast things.
Mm-hmm. Yes, as ever, thank you for your comment, Doc.
Yeah, thanks.
Right, next. Do you have something you wanted to add?
He's one of my favorites. Am I not supposed to say that?
You can say whatever you like.
I'm starting to lose my voice. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I'm not even the one that's not liking a lot.
Right, next comment is from David Carney, who says, "Hi, Luke and Mary. I really enjoyed Matt Fraction and Steve Lieber's run on Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. It was very funny. Also, Aaron Ashburn was brilliant as Jimmy Olsen in Smallville. Loved the twist at the end of the show. Wasn't a fan of what they did to Jimmy in Batman v Superman. Oh, yes, that's when he was an undercover CIA agent posing as a photographer and he got shot in the head. Loving the Substack, Mary. Have a good week, all. Oh, you need to write a new Substack. It's been a little while since you've done one.
Yeah, well, this week I didn't write one because we were kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's I was kind of on like a little bit of a holiday. Not as in like I went somewhere, but
A break.
and we went to visit people.
Mm-hmm.
So after the mini meltdowns, after having to go outside and socialize, I pretty much almost back to normal.
Okay. Next, we have Big Mikey P's huge comment, so let's get to work on that. I'm late till now. Actually went on a plane to road trip, which explains the lack of activity yesterday. Well, on to the podcast. By the way, the description timestamps need a fix. Comments are 39:10 for one. Oh my goodness. Maybe I just forgot to do them. We'll await the new stuff going to be announced and trailers released on YouTube in San Diego. And yeah, was wrong with DCAU Robin for Mondo. Oh yeah, the signature signal watch is woefully underused. Still, at least Justice League Unlimited acknowledged it, but it sure uses a different noise. If Luke had a dislike of DCAU Jimmy, and to a lesser extent the aforementioned Robin, I have a dislike of the reckless Katz Kobayashi from Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, and to a lesser extent Ralph from the Lord of the Flies novel. Don't know why I read Lord of the Fries. My brain is melting.
Yeah.
I've just had enough today. Anyway, we'll recommend that Gamera film trilogy, Luke and Mary. I have a slight fear of encountering very long videos. Ironic, considering the length of your comments and how they extend videos like this.
The comment sections are always longer than actual video.
Yeah, I know. That means losing time to watch other interesting videos and the shows I'm watching outside of YouTube, like Anne of Green Gables 1979, getting the phone battery drained faster than expected, and maybe going past scheduled bedtime and other routines. However, your podcast, Space Cadet Rewind, and Exploring series do feel like channel exceptions to the rule. Well, that's very nice of you to say.
Thank you.
And with Luke, also overlooked Jimmy Olsen's role in Little Girl Lost Parts 1 and 2. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, he didn't really do all that much other than walk around with Supergirl. I mean, I suppose he named her. But...
I think it was more than just walking around with Supergirl.
Fair enough. I don't think it really would have changed anything in the video, though, would it? Other than just being, like, another list item to tick off. Like, it wouldn't have changed any of the...
Should I do a video about Jimmy?
If you want.
Dear Jimmy, I kind of like you. I don't know if we'd be good friends, but actually, you know what? I think we'd be good friends. Can I touch your watch?
And with Mary on Mean Girls, can understand why the film has its fans, but it's no miscongeniality in terms of relevant, wholesome sociability and camaraderie, despite the occasional biting wit and themes. Will predictably he extend that to anime like Aria, Girls and Panzer Review Starlight, and I guess the increasingly trendy Uma Musume, where the growing girls in such works are truly noble co-workers, co-stars, competitors. Rolls eyes on Danny Phantom mention. Always interesting when even the least significant of the DCAU characters have voice actors with quite the itineraries. You know, that fellow viewer like Lowell might want to show off photos for the channel public community section like Scrin does with the chickens. Yes, that would be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that Lowell Lucas Jr., if you want to share anything, go on the community section of my channel and post your pictures and artwork and anything else you want to share there. Post your own videos. It's fine by me. Alan Tiddock, he's done so much good work in Firefly and Serenity. No, not going to mention Leaves. the otherwise debatable Star versus the Forces of Evil, and even the movie I, Robot. Sonny's a gem of a non-human character. And yes, Doc and also Lowell's comments are a treat to me too. Not how I say bravado, oh wife of Luke. Sorry, Mary, Barbie isn't a passionate favourite of mine when compared to the glories of Review Panzer, Red vs. Blue, Star Wars Legends, and on and on and on. And on and on and on and on and on.
That's that just means that's more Barbie for me to buy and watch and talk about.
No worries. I did say I won't get political on those. However, I do worry on how I'll kindly feature certain German and especially Russian songs from Girl and Panzer, like the former's Erika and the latter's Katyusha. Hasty people might want to mangle me for being pro-Nazi, pro-Kremlin, even when I never even thought of such a thing. So far, I'd lost my place. Oh dear. So far, I haven't made the kind of community post since I'm thinking of whether to mention my reasons and why I love the films instead, or I'll just list the premises and just take pictures of the movie's posters. Thoughts, you two, plus totally Schway viewers / commenters? Any thoughts on that, Mary? I mean, by all means, do the community post. You could put pictures of their posters. That's fine if you've got high quality stills from whatever you're talking about. That would also be acceptable, I'm sure.
Yeah, it will help us understand each other more. Like, if I told you why my favorite movie was my favorite movie, y'all be like, that doesn't make sense. But it kind of, like, explains who I am a little bit more.
No Watership Down novel to read. Oh well, Mary, at least you're no Emblir Ra. And more controversial stuff that we're not going to read out from Big Mikey P, but Mary's resolved most of this already with him.
No, it's not me that's resolved it.
Yeah, you spoke with him.
But we spoke. The thing is, we both talked about it. And that's the whole thing about being a community, is that we talk to each other. And it's not, explanation is everything. To have a conversation with most people, I mean, not with I could have a full conversation with myself, but to have a conversation like that, it takes two people.
And just to close off his comment then, with this PSA's video in mind, do rub against Static Shock's awkward PSAs for Jimmy and Where the Rubber Meets the Road. Yeah, we only talked about BTAS.
Yeah, I think we will eventually watch Static Shock, and I think there's one particular episode that I will probably have like first-hand reaction to from what Luke has told me. So I could do something like this with other shows too, because I think although the base point and the PSA stuff is BTAS, but some of the other shows show different things, just like if you were in a different city. So I like that idea, but I won't do it like back to back though.
Right. On to the next comment, who is from RDP16 Rules, who we haven't heard from in a while. Hope you're doing well. And he says, "Hey, Luke and Mary, long time no comments. I've kept up with the podcast, but I've also stayed busy in a way that prevented me from commenting for a while. I'll try to comment more often, but no promises. Now on to the actual comment. I am a big fan of Jimmy Olsen. Honestly, it's for the same reason I'm a fan of Robin. When I was younger, I identified with the sidekicks more, and Jimmy is absolutely a sidekick. Granted, he's more of Lois's sidekick than Superman's, but the point stands. I could easily see a Jimmy and Robin team up as a B-plot to a world's finest A-plot. Oh, what could have been. It's understandable that as time goes on, Jimmy has to be modernised. STAS has a good modernisation, with Jimmy being a Peter Parker type photographer. When he gets an attitude or becomes a secondary action hero, that's when they lose me. I don't mind female characters finding Jimmy attractive, but he has to be the one looking for love, not the heartbreaker some adaptations turn him into. The series My Adventures with Superman has my favourite incarnation of the character. Jimmy is no longer a boy sidekick, but now a full-fledged contemporary of Clark and even his roommate. Plus, I could easily see some of the weirder Golden Age events play out in this series. By the way, I have a friend who is in the middle of a SpongeBob SquarePants rewatch. Probably not the whole series, just the first couple of seasons if I had to guess. Anyway, in one episode, SpongeBob gets a conch that can signal Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. And we get to see what happens when someone abuses the superhero signal. SpongeBob bugs those poor senior citizens to no end, and if it wasn't for a supervillain showing up, SpongeBob probably wouldn't have learned his lesson. Thank goodness that Jimmy Olsen isn't as ridiculous as SpongeBob. And now for some hashtag totally Schway questions. Do you remember those? Yeah, you were like the only person that ever did them. Which superhero would you like to be a roommate to in your 20s? Daredevil.
Probably say Batman because I wouldn't see him.
Oh, because he'd have a big house.
Well, yeah, and also I wouldn't see him.
Yeah.
And
you'd be asleep when he was out.
I would definitely hope that Alfred came with him. But it's mainly because I wouldn't see him very much.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Now that we have a new live-action Superman, which characters from the Superman canon would you like to see in the next movie? Brainiac.
Amazo.
Okay, well, I suppose he is technically Superman.
Yeah.
Technically, he's more Justice League, but I'll allow it.
Or Emil. Professor
Hamilton.
Because I would see him as a friend that turned into a villain, in my opinion, working with Katniss.
Next question is, James Gunn has admitted that he added crypto into the new movie as an excuse to put his own pet into the movie. So what kind of movie would you put your own pets into? Oh my god. 2 of our cats are absolute cowards. They're afraid of their own shadows. I don't think they would even they wouldn't even like being near a camera.
I would say that I would make like a Toy Story type movie, but with cats. So the cats don't talk unless they're like after us or after we've left the room or something. And then they would somehow save the world because I've left my laptop on again. So maybe like a spy.
A spy thriller.
Spy thriller.
Well, yeah, they are very sneaky, aren't they?
Yeah. That's why I say that.
And then Gilgamesh would probably... Gilgamesh would be in the next...
He is not sneaky at all.
He tries.
But he'll do something, and then when you pretend to turn your head, he'll start doing it again. And then when you catch him again, he'll just be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
And Gilgamesh would be in an Indiana Jones style action movie.
I keep doing that, I'm sorry.
Next comment was, speaking of James Gunn, both him and Zack Snyder have recently appeared in Rick and Morty as themselves. What real life person or people do you want to see in an animated movie or TV show? I have no idea.
I would like to see
my answer is there's nobody in real life I would like to see in animation.
Who's that Greta lady? Greta, is it Thunberg?
Yeah.
I'd like to see. I think she'd be a good character. Just because it'd be like, I think she could do something like Captain Planet, but
Captain Greta.
Well, yeah, she could be like Generation Z or Alpha.
Yeah, I'm surprised Family Guy hasn't made that joke about her yet. They've made other jokes about her, haven't they?
Yeah, I wouldn't be mean about it because I don't want to be mean, but because I don't think there's anything to be mean about. But yeah, I'd make her the new Captain Planet.
But yes, thanks for your comment. Hope everything is well and that you are keeping yourself busy with fun stuff, not tedious stuff. Right, next comment is Screen Wiper with the chicken news. He said, I added chicken news around Saturday lunchtime, which I guess was too late, but I just didn't have the time in the days prior. I even sent Mary a private message on Facebook about it. Seeing as it was missed off this episode, here it is again. See, Mary doesn't really check her Facebook very often at all. She's just gone, what? And now is looking on there. Scrolling through all of her unread messages. Anyway, I'm going to read the chicken update while Mary tries to find it. So on the 15th of July, we just had a Mondo heatwave. The hens clearly found it hard, but they coped well. There is always a shady spot or two in the aviarium winter garden. I have been really ill again. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully you're better by now, because it's 2 weeks later. This time with a new strain of COVID. Oh, and it really sucks. Yeah, I bet. That's what I get for going out to a public event, I guess. For a few days, I wasn't able to do much beyond lie down in the garden. It's been so hot that during the day the hens often hung out, not with me, but on the sun deck, but down in one of their little hunting grounds, the dirt pit, a small narrow area full of mud and leaves, between the deck and the garage where it's always shady. They would join me on the deck from about 5 p.m. when the sun wasn't as harsh. I'm so glad and grateful that none of my hens got sick from the heat in any way. I do not have the energy for dealing with all that right now, not physically or emotionally, and have seen other chickens online get various kinds of heat sickness. 19th of July. After bin day last episode, the dead body smell remained and lingered in my garden, getting worse. Just to clarify, it was a dead rat. For anyone that's listening for the first time, Scream Wiper is not a murderer as far as I'm aware.
No.
Oh, yes, here we go. He goes on to talk about it. It took me multiple days to trace the smell, but in the end I found the source. It was a dead rat, and by the time I found it underneath a sack of compost left in the hen's dirt pit, it was not only badly decomposed, but also damaged by the heat. The rat's body fat was literally melting. The corpse had grafted onto a stick beneath it, and the smell was so atrocious that just the thought of it churned my stomach for days. Oh, dear.
Since when does Facebook have a spam folder?
I don't know, but I see messages from your mother in there.
And I got peed off at her, didn't I?
Yep. Whoops. Anyway. Thankfully, the day I found it was right before the next bin day. I put the body in the same bin as the chicken poop and chicken waste. It stacked up on the street in front of the house, but was gone the next day. The poor bin man did not have a good time. I saw him through my window. And afterwards, there was this melted rat fat soup at the bottom of the bin that smelt so horrific. It's gone now.
Oh, gosh.
The following weekend, I was still poorly and spent most of it sunbathing, and without the corpse smell, it was so much nicer. Even the hens are enjoying their dirt pit much more, and yes, the rat was even too gross for those mingers to appreciate. I was going to ask if the chickens decided to try and consume the rat fat soup, but you've answered the question, so there we go. So as I was well enough, I gave the coop a good clear out and found a couple of mite nests under the bedding again. Little bastards invaded while I was too ill to defend my babies. I killed them all and changed the bedding out. A few days later, when the heat died down, I weighed the hens and everyone had lost weight. If it's the whole pack, the cause is probably environmental, though it isn't impossible for them all to have suddenly, simultaneously gotten cancer so soon after getting clean bills of health from the vet. So I can assume the heat reduced their appetite as it did mine, or the mites drained them of blood and weight, or both. Either way, until they get back to normal weights, the hens are allowed more calorific food like bread and cheese than they normally get, and they're very happy about that. 2nd of August, just 4 or 5 days after I cleaned the coop of mites, it was suddenly crawling with mites again. I found a nest between 2 pieces of wood that makes the coop, killed them, deep cleaned, poisoned the coop, and replaced all of the bedding again. And I dipped all of the hens in diluted poison, which they hated, but I needed to ensure they were uncontaminated. They were still losing weight. Been a few days and the mites haven't yet come back. Still, this was the last bloody straw. I have ordered a brand new chicken coop, one made of plastic because mites don't like it as much as wood. Recycled plastic, so my ecological reasons for not getting plastic sooner are satisfied. I hope the hens adjust to it well. The wooden coop is still a good coop and I will not throw it away. It will be kept in the garage and used for short-term housing, like when new hens arrive and cannot yet be put with the others. As for the hens, other than the weight loss, they seem fine. Mabel has a bit more confidence using the feeder, but is still wary of the lid and doesn't use it when the other hens are near. She talks to me a lot, often coming to the house to ask me for food or to move the mush bowl from the aviary to the patio so she can be near me when she eats it.
Oh.
Proper daddy's girl. Wilma seems mildly jealous. Mabel and Betty are hanging out together a lot lately, which is nice. Mabel has just started having 2 days off laying eggs a week. Glad she's getting a rest. I want her laying eggs for a long time, and so don't want her straining herself like Doris did. Doris lost a lot of her confidence due to all that illness she had earlier in the summer, and I think her hormones are kicking her ass a bit. She has days where she is much like her old self, but it only takes one bit of Wilma and Betty being a bit mean, such as when they squabble over food, and she gets quiet and timid again. She doesn't completely withdraw for long, though. Wilma and Betty seem fine and stable, though I would prefer they ate more mush sometimes. They want to just live off of treats sometimes. It sounds like our cats. Not too much trouble with the rats, but they still visit. Kicked one up the arse the other day and made it do a somersault. Poor rat. Still got... Sorry, just got that mental image of a flipping rat. Still got at least one, but they are probably still 2. Another day recently, I heard them squeaking at each other, maybe fighting or mating. It's in next door's long grass. Pretty sure that's where the nest, and the neighbours on the other side of the house reckons the same. Glad it's next door getting residents blamed for the rats and not me. In answer to that question, someone asked, I have always put her poop in the rat trap in an attempt to mask the off-putting smell of human. It isn't enough. When I resort to killing animals, it is the last resort. And that is your chicken update.
Can I say something?
Do.
I have just found about 40 messages of unread Facebook quote unquote spam messages.
From people you know.
Yeah.
Good.
Mostly from my mom.
Oh dear.
I also got one from Cubnouses. And a couple other people.
So there we go. You're getting a live demonstration of Mary learning how Facebook Messenger works. Do you know what? Actually, I haven't looked in my spam folder for a long time. There won't be anything in there, though.
Like, people in my... So I don't look at Facebook messages very much because I've made people go to... People in my personal life go to WhatsApp. Because that is... I check that more than anything. Facebook just got kind of... everything got muddled together. So... Yeah, and I only really have Facebook for the community, Luke's community stuff on there, and to keep in touch with like people like my mom, which was obviously not, I wasn't doing good there, was I? Oh, whenever she forgets her password, she just creates another account. So I think that's probably why that went in there. But I don't know why the other ones did.
Must be your privacy settings. Anyway. Let's move on to the next comment, which is from Vitos Trath, who says, got jump scared by my own name. Wow. The issue seems to be fixed now. No idea it wasn't working. And yes, you pronounced my name right. Oof. To go on a tangent about a tangent, the DMC anime takes so many liberties with the source material to the point of near unrecognizability. For instance, having Lady shout her name proudly while in the game she despises it, dumbing down Dante from carefree yet serious to actively stupid, turning it from fighting evil demons to protecting demon refugees from the government, and of course the overabundance of swearing. Feels like what happened with Velma, but not as bad, where a pre-existing show idea has a popular IP slapped on it for no good reason despite the heavy differing concepts. Dante has so much less screen time than Mary to the point that I feel like the writers wanted her to be the main character. Sorry for that. Just hate what they did with it. If it was an original IP, it'd be 7 out of 10, but as it stands, 4 out of 10.
So why did they do that? I guess can't come up with something a bit more original.
No, I guess they just don't want to repeat exactly what's come before, and they want to put their own stamp on it, and sometimes it's easier to do that with side characters than main characters. But
fair enough.
I haven't watched it, and to be honest, I don't really like the Devil May Cry games that much. They're okay, but I actually like DMC, the one by Ninja Theory, that all the Devil May Cry fanboys hated because he had short, dark hair instead of his Jennifer Saunders look. But anyway. Next comment is from Time Lord Victorious. I didn't know until I watched that film that James Gunn was making a reference by making the girls chase him. Oh, I think there's an autocorrect fail here. You're saying that James Gunn making a reference to Superman's Pal, the Superman the Animated Series, when all the girls chase after him. Yeah, could very well have been. Yeah, absolutely. I could see that being the case. Next and final comment, I believe, is from Ryan Jones, who says, to be honest, I have nothing much to say about this version of Jimmy Olsen. The only thing about him that stands out to me is when he took pictures of Volcana and said, this is for my private collection, which is a very pervy thing to do. I agree. But I do like my adventures of the Superman version of Jimmy Olsen, though. I have got Donkey Kong Bonanza for Switch 2, and I wouldn't spoil it, but as a Donkey Kong fan, it gave me a lot of joy. And when I achieve my dreams of becoming an actor and win my first Oscar, build my animation studio, and become the next Walt Disney in animation, I can say that my life is complete. When I win my Oscar, do you want me to promote the podcast in the speech? And not
say thank you to your first grade teacher.
Right, sorry, you made me lose my place in the
That's
comment.
fine.
When I win my Oscar, do you want me to promote the podcast in my speech or not because of the evil paparazzi? Mary, what do you think of my posts on Luke's YouTube community tab? I would be surprised if you were watching Lois and in the next episode because of plays Superman in that show. Oh, right. Any thoughts on Ryan Jones's posts? He's posted a couple of things in there. One thing about Donkey Kong, talked about how much he enjoyed Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm. I think because of you, I made the decision to get Donkey Kong because I didn't think it was gonna be. How do I explain this without sounding like I'm old?
You like vintage Donkey Kong Country? Donkey
Yeah,
Kong.
with like Diddy and Dixie. Um, when you were talking about it was a lot. It seemed a lot different than what I had originally thought the Switch 2 version was going to be. So yeah, and obviously Fantastic Four, love it. And I don't post on your group very often, but I do read. Um, yeah, I'm trying not to. I'm still talking a lot, but for some reason my voice is starting to go.
Yeah, and you're
So
not even reading out all the comments.
what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna ask Luke what he wants to do for the next episode because I believe I picked this one.
That is an excellent question, and I realise I haven't planned anything ahead. Let's talk about.
Question.
You want to do the question? That is a good question. We'll talk about the
Yeah.
question. Go on then.
I
Next
had a
one, the
I had
question.
one like loaded in my head just in case because I kind of knew this wasn't gonna he wasn't gonna have it written down. So yeah, next time we're gonna do the question, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And I hope you guys have a really great week. Hopefully my voice will go back to normal. By the way, if you notice that my voice was one way 1 second and then another, it's because we took a couple hours of a break. So yeah, I love you guys so much, and I hope you all have wonderful weeks. And please be safe. The weather out there around this time of year is atrocious. I don't like the heat, and I'm ready for autumn. And not because of pumpkin spice latte, but I will be making my own pumpkin spice lattes and wearing sweaters that are far too hot.
Hmm.
All right, guys, have a great one.